Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wired Nerdy Podcast. This is season number 3, episode number 12. My name is Keith, and I'm here with my good friend Doug. Douglas, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Things are going good. You know, we're getting close to some really big events, and I think we may have a quick show for you today, but it's not that we have a lack of stuff to talk about. Just a lot of other things going on in the world.
We do. We got a lot of stuff going on. However, it's one of those moments that Doug and I have been doing this for a while where, you know, we do our normal format with the nerd news, and then what ends up happening is something happens in the world that seems to just dominate all of the news cycles, and it's really hard to undig out exactly, you know, things that would be good for the podcast, right? And so, you know, we're kind of in one of those times, but we've got some really good stuff to talk about. You know, dude, I think, do you just want to fire up the nerd news?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's fire it up.
Nerd news.
Get the share going.
Get that pulled up. The first one, it's kind of an interesting story. Make sure we sync up here.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
There you go.
Microsoft is releasing its original source code way back when they first started the company in that garage.
That's right. At Bill Gates, right?
Yeah, it's kind of an honor to his company. It's a 50th anniversary and 5 decades of some of the coolest code he's ever written. Going through it's really cool. Talks about his wife is also writing a book about the headlines and stuff as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. I like that they're doing this because as things move on, it becomes a part of history. The first program that he wrote was BASIC, which is it's a version of the programming language BASIC, and it was for the Altar 8800 is what it ran on. By the way, 8800 is a certain type of semiconductor chip. Now, most people don't know that while he came up with BASIC, and it was very, very popular, it was very easy to code in, one of the things about this is that he didn't technically write DOS. DOS is the disk operating system. He bought it from some dude somewhere, and then he went to Microsoft. He went as Microsoft to IBM, who IBM was the big player at the time. And he basically said, look, we have this operating system. You have hardware. You guys want to put computers in the home. And he basically took this idea and rebranded it. Now, he did reverse engineer it and put his own spin on it. But he had gotten an agreement with IBM ahead of time for DOS. And it wasn't even something he wrote. Now, BASIC he did write. And so opening up this particular code base, you can download it and check it out yourself, which is kind of neat that they're doing this. But this is like computer history. It kind of leads to like where we are today. If you want a really good movie, now there's been a lot of movies on, but I'm going to try to find this for you. It's older, but it's called Pirates of Silicon Valley. And it has a dude from ER in it. Okay. And it has Anthony Michael Hall, I think his name is. And it basically is a really good telling of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. They were both kind of coming up at the same time. How they ripped each other off. They both went to the research park where the mouse, Xerox, believe it or not, the company that did photo, they came up with the mouse, but they didn't have a use for it. And it was so funny about how, you know, Steve Jobs stole the mouse, and then of course the whole thing. So if you're interested in really good, then you can find this, I'm sure, somewhere. It was a TV movie, but it's excellent. It's really, really good. And I highly recommend it. So Pirates of Silicon Valley. And it kind of goes back. He talks about the roots of the BASIC code that he released, and then how that led to him buying DOS, him pitching to IBM, all that kind of stuff. So definitely check it out. It's older, but a good one.
Good. Yeah.
All right. What do we got next here?
The next couple ones are trailers. You know, we always talk about movies coming up, and you get closer towards the summer, big premieres are coming out. And the first one that caught my eye was the new Tron movie. It looks amazing.
Yep. They didn't show much.
They didn't show much, but it looks really good.
It looks awesome. And what you'll notice right out the gate, we're talking a minute and 26 seconds. You got your light cycles, which it looks like they made real ones in real life, which I think is awesome. Because, you know, those don't look like, obviously the CG of it's cutting a car in half is cool.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Poor cop car. But it's neat. It looks like they made real Tron cycles and they took the world of Tron and they're moving it into the real world, it looks like, which was always kind of a threat, if I remember correctly, from the prior films.
It was,
that they wanted to get out. So it looks like they actually got out. It looks awesome. It looks great. One thing I'll say, I hope the soundtrack is a fraction of what it was on the prior ones that they had. The soundtrack was, and I don't think Daft Punk is doing this one. I think they got somebody else doing it. But man, the soundtrack to this movie, the first one, was really, really good. So now, do you know when this comes out? Is it this summer or is it later?
I'm looking. I don't see. Now, I did look up 9 Inch Nails was announced in
That's right.
August
Trent
of last
Reznor
years to do
Trent-
this film.
Now, Trent Reznor did the Quake soundtrack. If you video, fun fact there. So this one's got good old Jared Leto in it. Seems like he's in everything.
So just a quick search. I believe 9 Inch Nails has it this time.
Okay, I think they'll do good. It'll probably have a different feel to it. I don't know if it'll be as electronic-y, Yeah, there it is, featuring music by NIN.
Oh, nice.
And October 10th.
Yeah, not that far away. Great.
Yeah. So NIN's doing it. They did a great job on some other things like Quake. So I think they'll do a good job. I'll be curious. It's not going to have the EDM, the electronic dance music feel to it.
Yeah, I think we're switching more from EDM to like a heavy rock or metal
we'll see.
mode. So that'll be good.
Alternative metal, if you will.
Yeah.
All right, cool. On that front, we're going to jump to the next trailer, but I'm going to go ahead and just bring it up now. I just mentioned Quake for our next one. If you don't mind, Doug, I'm just going to throw this one here, and then we'll get to our other ones that we have. We talked about Doom was able to be recreated by artificial intelligence. Well, we just mentioned Quake. NIN, the 9 Inch Nails, did the soundtrack for that game.
And it was awesome.
Yeah. Microsoft's... It did. It's got a great feel to it. But Microsoft's Muse AI model has recreated Quake 2. And they have a tech demo of it. So, which is obviously impressive because it was just a couple months ago they did Doom.
Yeah.
And now they're showing it. So it's crazy to me that, and they got this little video here. I don't know. It looks like he's playing Quake 2. But it's not
the. Don't want to show it off too much, I guess. It's kind of hard to see it on his laptop there.
Say that again.
Oh, it's hard to see it on his laptop there.
It is. Sorry, he was really loud in my headset. That's why I was like, oh, say that again. And I don't know a way. It looks like it's on Instagram. Yeah, he's got it in like a small window, but it looks like he's playing it there. But either way, he goes on to say, it looks like I'm playing the original Quake. He's not. They essentially showed the AI gameplay of Quake. And then they told it, hey, build it again from scratch. And it did it.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, that's kind of nutty. But we mentioned Quake, so I at least want to bring this up. Do you think...
No, I'm glad that you switched over to that. And we've talked about this before with AI making games. And then was it Doom, right? That they were making it as you went on. So the level wasn't even built. And
on the fly.
As you continued, it was building it, which is crazy.
Yep. Before you opened the door for the next room, it was generating that room.
Yeah.
Now, the theory behind it, and I'm about to blow your mind, maybe not, I don't know. But the theory behind it is, if the AI is good enough to create a playable game on the fly while it's the game's being made while you're playing it, imagine a scenario in which the game changes on the fly based on your gameplay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's say you're like just crushing it and it decides to give you a boss early on. It can just drop it in the next room when you open the door.
Oh, yeah.
Or you get a different experience each time. So,
well, and I'm going to go one further. We talk about AI becoming sentient possibly in the future, or maybe it already is, hopefully not. But then if you trigger the AI's emotions emotionally, it's going to give you harder bosses. Like, I don't know if that's a real thing. That's just a conspiracy theory thought there.
Oh, my gosh. I'm playing it right now.
Oh, sweet.
Can you see my screen?
I can. So you're going to give us a live demo here.
I'm giving you a live demo. So apparently there was a link. I didn't quite realize. I clicked it to see what it would do. And I don't know how to fire. Oh, there's my jump. It's all keyboard controls. Something's coming my way. Or there was something coming my way. I don't know the controls. Like, I don't. Oh, it's right there on the side. Space, jump, attack, F.
Oh, how
There
do
we
you
go.
turn your head though?
Yeah, so up, down. Look. Oh, I got to use my arrows.
Oh,
Boy, that's kind of
cool. There
awkward.
you go.
Oh, look at that.
But look at the lighting, the shadow of you on the floor.
Yeah.
Kinda.
All right, we're going through this. Here we go.
Nice.
Going
See,
through
we
a
didn't
core.
even plan this. This is
Oh,
good.
God.
Oh, look at that guy.
Wow, look at that.
Oh man.
He actually fell apart.
Yeah, you.
I'm still shooting him.
And then the blood splatter.
Yeah, let's
Crazy.
see here. Okay. Oh, it even opened up
Oh,
the
look.
door. I'll get my cursor out of the way there.
Very nice.
So I
And you
didn't.
got some pickups on the ground, some signs. Like, is that a wet floor sign?
It looks
No,
like
it's a
it.
box of something.
See, the barrels don't explode. We're not at peak AI until barrels explode, unless I'm just not like shooting them right. It's a little laggy, but I mean, it's writing this as I go through it. So
That is crazy.
that's kind of a pleasant surprise.
Well,
I
the
didn't.
lighting and the shadows.
It's
look
actually pretty
amazing
good.
so far.
Now on my screen, you probably kind of see it. It's fuzzy.
Yeah.
There's not a what I would say smoothness to it, but
It doesn't look bad though.
No, it's low res. We'll say that. Low res, and there's no way to activate attack. Yeah, there you go. It gives me a time
limit.
But don't worry, you can start a new game. Loading a new game. There you go. So it's functional.
Yeah, good.
Hey, there's a whole new area here. So almost like it drops you in the middle of a level. Oh, it just kind of repeats. Look at that. It's like a loop. If you go back, it reminds me of Severance.
Oh, wait. Here's a new level.
Now it's new.
Up.
I must
Maybe it had to take a second to generate.
Yeah, actually, this is the beginning of the game. Do you remember where your drop ship
yeah.
rocket? So maybe they tried to recreate it as it went, but it's not doing it inside of an engine. Wow, that's impressive.
That is crazy. Yeah.
Do you think by the end of this year they're going to be able to? I've seen video where they say you're going to be able to type in a prompt on a video game, say like, Doug, you want to? What was it? You loved Nuclear Strike.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you want a
Continue
different version,
that series, that'd be great.
But can you imagine, like, I want a new version of Nuclear Strike set in this era with this graphics, and then it would make it for you. Do you think that's probably
that'd be amazing? You know, I think I'm just going to throw this out there. 10 years in the future, that will be its own program. Of hey, say put a price tag of $1,000 on it. Buy this program; it'll make any game you want to make. And people will probably buy that. I don't know if that's a concept or reality, but
people always buy it, right? That doesn't mean it'll be good. Now, there's a lot of arguments about quality and human creativity.
I think there'll be some kind of pack in the future for non-developer, non-language knowing coders.
Yeah, definitely. There's like that trend now they do with like what they call vibe coding, which is you not necessarily needing to know how to to program, but you would be able to have a playable system. Oh, look, a new gun. No, it's not. Okay, they don't have any new guns in it. They're giving me more enemies, though. They look really wonky, though. Anyway.
Time limit.
That was fun.
Well, that was really cool.
And unexpected.
Thank you for demonstrating that.
Yeah. All right. I'm excited about this, right?
Oh, yes.
At first,
I thought... You're not a Superman fan at all.
Oh, not at all. At first, I thought they were just rehashing the footage, but a few days ago, they released an additional trailer. If you saw the first one, Superman hits the snow, he's hurt, Crypto shows up, it's a montage. They do the exact same thing, but I'm going to fast forward here. It's a little longer, and it's funny. It shows like Crypto, and he's very obstinate because he keeps telling him, go home, and he finally grabs his cape, tosses it over. Crypto puts it in his mouth, which we did see. But this time, when Crypto starts dragging him, because it would cut off in the prior, in this teaser, it actually shows the Fortress of Solitude growing out of the ground. And I think you mentioned inside of the Fortress of Solitude, we get a glimpse of something, don't we?
We do. And I don't know anything about the Superman story, so I'd like you to explain. I don't want to go too far. We're watching it as we go, but who these people are, what these things are inside the Fortress of Solitude.
So I don't want to spoil anything, but there are robots inside the Fortress of Solitude, and they are from Krypton. So they are remnants of their technology that's left. And think of them as just like keepers of the Fortress of Solitude, but then also they take care of Superman. And that's what happens. They end up throwing him on a table, I think, at some point. And it's funny because he thinks the robots, and they're like, no need to think us. We don't have emotion, And
Very
so,
cool.
but yeah, it gives you a longer view. What's really nice about it is not only do you get a view of the Fortress of Solitude, they show a few more other like clips of the world, and you can get a view of the aesthetic and everything. So I'm excited about it because I'm a huge Superman fan. So that's this summer, if I remember
It looks
correctly.
awesome.
I think it's in July. Is it July, if I remember correctly? I think that's when it's coming out. So I'm excited about it, but it was a little bit longer. I get leery with movies that I want to see. I don't know if you ever feel this way. When they keep doing little teasers to keep you interested, it worries me in that you ever get to the theater and you feel like, oh my God, have they shown all the good parts?
Yes,
Have you ever felt that way?
absolutely, yeah.
That's kind of what I worry about. Yeah, I love that they're showing it, and it gets me excited about it. Gets a buzz. It's good, but then I'm like, are these like all the good parts? And then it's especially nice when you go and you realize, oh, they didn't show all the good parts. Okay, so I felt that way with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I feel like I've already seen the movie, but then I went and I saw it, and then I was like, oh no, they didn't show all the parts of it. So
I think there's a fine line of getting your audience hyped up and getting them interested to come to the theater. So
amen,
you got
brother.
to show some of this awesome stuff, but you don't want to give too much of that away.
Correct. It's a fine line. I think that you have to walk between marketing, spurring interest, but then not ruining the movie itself.
One, James Gunn, back to that, he has done such a great job, I think, in some of these titles. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
very excited to see his take on this.
Yeah, he is an awesome director. I would say he's probably one of my favorite modern day directors. One of them, at least, especially in the comic book genre. So I'm excited about this. I think he's going to do a good job. He did well with Suicide Squad. He crushed Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I love his casting. So I'm on board. I'm ready for this. Lex Luthor looks awesome. Everything looks good. So as a fan, but it's interesting because he is good about putting nods and stuff. And now this is a deep cut for me. Like, he's put stuff in there that I recognize that I don't know if most people would unless you read the comics. So I think I'm going to enjoy these almost a little bit more than Marvel, in the fact that I've read so much DC that I already see things in it that are hidden, and I know what they're connected to, and I know where he's going. So I'm excited about that personally. So
very good.
I didn't have that experience as a Marvel with the Marvel movies. I loved them; they were great.
So
but
this deeper connection with the comics, it'll be that much more enjoyable for you.
Correct. It will be. All right. I'll let you do the next one, man. This was another little surprise that my wife is excited about. Yeah.
I've heard a little bit about, they talk about it in the movie, but Ballerina. It's part of the John Wick series, kind of an offshoot story.
Yep.
So I believe these Russian ballet dancers actually have kind of a secret society of assassins, and that's what we're going to learn about.
That's right. And this takes place between John Wick 2 and 3.
I believe so, yeah.
Yep, it's in his universe. He does show up in the trailer, so we're going to assume he's right there.
There he is right there.
And they even mentioned her being trained by Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
And so it sounds this awesome scenario where this ballerina within the Russian group, which the ballerina thing is a cover, and they're assassins, if I remember correctly. And they're all they're a part of the table, and they have the Continental with the gold coins and the whole 9 yards. But essentially the girl, the main character, she wants to learn how to do what John Wick does. And he shows up, and she even says that at one point, I want to do what you do. And he looks around at all the dead bodies like, looks like you already do. Right. So I love these movies. I'm super excited. It's got Norman Reedus in it. You know?
The casting looks great so far.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited about it. My wife loves these John Wick movies. She's a huge action movie fan. So we are going to be seeing this, and it looks awesome. And you and I had a chance to go shooting earlier this week, and we were talking about all the gunplay in it and stuff. So yeah, I love how they do stuff. I mean, she's killing to do with an ice skate.
Oh, absolutely.
Blade. So, it looks awesome.
It looks awesome. And the thing, give credit to the producers, directors, all that. Keanu Reeves actually went to, I believe it's called Terran Tactical, to actually learn how to do these moves, learn how to reload, shoot, do all that stuff. So I only wonder, I think that's Anna de Armas.
It is. I bet she did.
Same place, did the same training.
Yep.
So in real life,
don't mess with her.
Curse on our show, but she's a badass. He's a badass in real life. and in the movie.
I think that's what's cool about these movies. You're right. They send them to those real schools, and there's footage of YouTube videos of them going through the Terran Tactical training.
And I know Halle
actually,
Berry did the same thing.
all of them. They all
Yeah.
did. And so I think that's really kind of a neat thing because,
yeah.
they're not having stand-ins doing the shooting for them, or it's not CG. Because you get to see them do it in real life at the Terran Tactical School. So I'm excited about it. I think it'll be good. Now, it just says coming soon.
Great, yeah.
I don't know if it's this summer or not. I don't know if they've released it. It just says coming soon.
Here, I'll look that up real quick.
I doubt they've done a declarative date for it. The other aspect is they might be waiting, until...
They're thinking June 6, 2025 is what I got.
Really? That soon? That would be awesome.
Yep, that's what IMDb. That's reliable, I'm thinking.
It is reliable. If that's true, Doug, we're going to have a really good summer movie.
Be amazing. Yeah.
Maybe the theaters will kind of have a little bit of a resurgence.
Wired Nerdy, I'm throwing this out there, needs to go together and we'll do a movie review.
I love it. I love it. Let's do it. I think it's great. All right. You ready for the main topic?
I am ready. I've only heard a couple things over the last couple weeks about this.
It's dominated the news, dude. Yeah. It's all over the place. Go ahead, do the pitch, man.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard or you're living under a rock, the Switch 2 has been announced. It's coming out, but it's coming out with some chaos. It's coming out with some pricing that kind of scares me and some stats and behind-the-scenes stuff that's really scary. So,
yeah, we showcased the preview announcement a few episodes back, and we were shooting for the early part of April to have an actual reveal. It was it was a little over an hour long reveal. Very well done. They did a good job. They had a butt ton of games. They showed more details. We now know processor wise, it's about equivalent to, let's say, an Xbox Series S, which is more the lower class of the current generation of Xbox. So it's got some oomph to it. Yeah. They are bringing some heavy hitters as a result. Cyberpunk is coming to it. They have FromSoft, who made Elden Ring. They have I believe they Switch only. It's called Bloodlust game that will be coming out on it. The games look awesome.
Yeah, they do.
I love the controller design. On that front, they did this weird thing with the controllers, which I'd love your thoughts on. They kept pushing. The controller can be put down on a desktop and used as a mouse because it has a laser in it.
Yeah.
And they kept pushing it, meaning it was a key feature of a lot of games. What's your take on that? Some people have said maybe it's porting over PC games. Well, what are you thinking? Why a mouse, dude? Do you know? I don't know.
Yeah. I think the possibilities of new games and new styles of games is open dramatically. They showed some screens from a wheelchair game, which is really interesting. Each side of your Joy-Con is your hand on a wheelchair. So they had wheelchair basketball. Yep. And think about that for someone actually in a wheelchair. It's hey, this is a game made just for me. And I can do the motions and the actions. They also did some, I think, photo games and stuff. I'll have to look it up.
Well, I'll show. Well, actually, I've got the update here.
If they have them in here, I'm trying to think of the other ones.
Their big thing is game chat. So instead of you having to have
on the controller,
instead of having to have a separate Discord stood up when you're doing multiplay, they have the microphone. But then they do this thing where you can have a webcam connected to it, and if you're playing with friends, they'll show up at the bottom of your screen. And everybody's face or their photo will be attached to the game and what they're playing. Really cool. I will say the demo. I don't know if you saw this. Look how framey that is.
It is, and I hope it's just them trying to stream the show. Otherwise, that looks
I'm wondering
terrible.
what it's going to be like. Yeah, and so
I looked up the mouse real quick to go back to that. They're hoping that they can add Civilization, Cyberpunk, Hogwarts, Metro Prime, and then Super Mario Party. That's what they're wanting to use the mouse for. This was a story on Polygon. So.
Well, and we talked on the Mr. Right Way had a special podcast with our friends A Omega, Neo Ness, all them. They were talking about this. A point that I made in the chat, and I still feel this way. You can play the Switch anywhere, right? You can go anywhere. It's very portable. It's great. But dude, if you're playing in your living room, how many of us in the living room now? How many of us have a lap desk mouse?
No.
You're not sitting down with a hard surface to do a mouse control.
Now, the one argument I saw to that is it is supposed to work on different types of pants, like jeans and other things. But my thought
Come on,
is,
dog. You don't play Civilizations with the mouse
I
on your
know,
chin. I mean,
and that's
and
where
it's
I was going with that.
okay.
Yeah,
That's where you're gonna say, come on, like you played
yeah.
Civ, right?
I
Come
thought
on.
that was a terrible answer to the
Okay.
question. That's my thought. Yeah,
It's weird to me that they're leaning into the mouse. I don't understand the mouse at all. I think that was the biggest oddity
yeah.
for me in all of this is why the mouse. Now, one could say, maybe someday, which I don't think it'll happen, if you throw, let's say Game Pass on there, and there's some very PC mouse-driven games.
Yeah.
Maybe they're prepping for something we don't know. But I go back to it's a very living room centric console, and I just don't know if the mouse fits into that. But anyway, they had some really cool. I like the party games. See, you were talking about the pictures. See the photos.
Yeah,
they're
very
actually
jittery.
they're showing the people real time though on the party games, so that's kind of cool. In
that would be cool.
Yeah, so I like how creative they're getting. Like, watch, see the people pop out of the pipes.
Yep.
See, they're sitting in front of their camera at home doing that. I like that immersion. They're yelling in the microphone to make the little RC car go forward. I mean, Nintendo is so good at their games, dude. I mean, they are so innovative with what they do. So
there's a joke to be said somewhere of people at home early in the morning or late at night. If they're going to be on camera, they actually have to be dressed.
You got to have that rule, especially on a Nintendo.
Well,
family
right.
friendly.
Oh, unless your friends are just into that, that's a whole.
You never know. I'm sure there's a Twitch stream.
Uh-oh.
Now, another big news before we're covering the positives real quick to give everybody the big thing on the Switch Online. They are adding GameCube games.
Ooh,
and
that's a funky controller too.
Well, and they have a special dedicated GameCube controller for this service. Yeah, you're right. And I think they know it's a funky controller, so that's probably why they did that. So a lot of people have been wanting GameCube on their retro service that they have for streaming. Yep. So I say kudos to them for doing this. My one big issue that I have, and I know it's copyright on a lot of things, they can't really do it on everything. A lot of the games that I want to play in the back catalog are not on this. They'll do the heavy hitters, the Marios, the Zeldas, and all, but there are some games that you may want to play that they're not going to put on here. That's the one thing that I have, and it's probably copyrights. They don't own certain licensing for third-party ones that are not Nintendo Direct. But they're doing Wind Waker, which that was a fun game. It had a really cool cartoony. Yeah, they had Soul Calibur 2.
Soul Calibur.
Yeah, so they have some really good ones that are posted out there. So kudos to them. We're going to get into the controversy here in a minute. We're just kind of glossing over. They made there's sports play. That's the other thing. Madden is finally going to be full on these systems as well. Madden's going to be on here, which that's snagging a huge. People that be able to play Madden on the go, like a good version of Madden on the go, outside of the Steam Deck. I think that's going to be a good thing. They have F-Zero here. That was a good game as well for the GameCube. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place.
Oh no, you're doing good. Yeah.
Let's see. There's the Blood Dust game. Looks amazing. Graphics look awesome. Great. Let's get into the weird oddity now. Okay. So they went through Mario Kart, new Donkey Kong. Everybody's excited about that. Looks like you have destructible environments. Everybody's so excited about all of these things. They showcase all these games. New Metroid, Prime Beyond, Split Fiction, Hades 2, all of this amazing stuff. And then we're going to get to the cost.
Yes.
There's two bundles.
The one thing I'll say before we start any of this conversation is Nintendo usually sets a standard for the industry. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So everybody's watching very closely as to what their pricing model is, what they're doing with the controllers and everything. So I hope, some of the stuff we're going to talk about is negative. I hope it doesn't go over to the other consoles, the other companies and systems.
And what Doug's hinting at is the price point. So let's real quick baseline. This bad boy has, I think they bumped it up to 256 gigabyte of storage. You do have an expandable mini SD card. That's what they did on prior Switch, if I remember correctly. You do have 4K now. So that means it's higher resolution. You have a bigger screen. I'm going to say this, dude. It's only and I say only, and you'll understand why I'm saying only. It's an LED screen. It's not an OLED. It's an LCD screen. It's not an OLED. It's not even a baseline LED. It's not even an OLED, which if you remember, that's kind of the standard now, deeper, richer colors, that sort of thing. They want for the baseline model $500. Now there is a bundle. You're better off doing the bundle if you can, where you get Mario Kart, and that is $550 if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I think it's $550.
I believe you're right. I think $450 technically, but by the time you pay taxes and everything, you're right there. Yeah.
So you're hovering around the $500 marks on this side, and it's been a bit since I saw the update, so some of this is memory. Now,
I watched one this morning that had some more stuff on it, and it talked about the camera, which I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
You got to buy the camera separate.
Yes,
you got
$50 for the camera, and that's what gets you your whole body or your face on those multiplayer games.
That's right. If you want to do the multiplayer, if you want to do multiplayer, you got to switch online too. You got to pay for that if you want to play online. But so the entry point, I was a little disappointed because, dude, you can get a Steam Deck with the standard LCD screen in it for like $399 right now. If you do the low end one with more storage, if you do an OLED, it's actually lower than the $500 price point than them, and you have a larger library. Now, granted, you don't have Nintendo game libraries, but the real kick in the face too is the game cost. I'm going to let you cover that. Now, there's two. There's the physical game cost and the digital game cost. And we're going to get the controversy of the game cost, and then also what's the deal? What are they doing with games, Doug?
Yeah, so the games right now are like $50-$60, I think.
About that. Yep.
Average. So the proposed price, which I think is terrible, is $90. $90 for a physical game. That's the little cards, that go in the Switch 2.
Woo!
But then, digital. Digital meaning you don't have a factory chomping out these cards, putting the data on it. That's man hours. That's employee salaries. Blah blah blah. It's only going down $10 for a digital file. $80 for a digital game. So I think it's terrible. $90 for a physical card, which those get lost, those can get damaged. $80 for a digital game.
Dude.
Whew. And that's what I said before. That kind of warning is that scares me. I am mostly on PC. My PC games are still $60-$70 sometimes, unless I get the Steam sale. But $90, I don't want to start paying $90 for every single game I play. I know you might say it. I see your face there, kind of.
And what I'm thinking.
GTA 6, $100, but that is a totally different animal. I mean, that is over 100, 200, 300 hours of gameplay. Yeah. So I can justify that. But
we talked about that. Yeah, we know
I'll
GTA.
Quit my rant there.
No,
quit talking for a sec. But.
It's a fair rant. It's a good rant, and we knew GTA is going to be about $100. Of course, now Rockstar may see this and be like, "Oh, we could charge $150."
Oh yeah, if everybody's doing 90.
So I think there's an implication to this. Now, first of all, let's just say about Nintendo games, they do hold their value well. While they're still hovering at, especially a Zelda game, you're looking at $60. It's not going to, Nintendo don't put games on sale very often.
No.
And so they don't
have to.
They don't have to. Their first party games hold value. Okay. That being said, not only is what they're doing with the price point an interesting thing, but the other aspect is there's two types of physical cartridges as well. So they still look like the Switch cartridges. They're red now, but you got to look carefully on the box. Because one of the box will say digital key, and then the other one doesn't. That means if you go to the store and you buy one of those boxes that says digital key, you're getting a physical cartridge, but there's nothing on it. It's just got a serial number. And when you slot it in to the Switch 2, it's going to automatically initiate a download. And these downloads, we're talking 12 gig, if not more.
Oh, yeah. A lot.
So your 256 native storage,
gone.
Yeah. Gone. You're definitely going to need to get by the way, you can't use your prior mini SD cards. It's using a specific type of mini SD cards, an Extreme is what it's called as well. So you got to buy a new one of those as well. Now, it does have backward compatibility, which is great. But dude, I keep thinking about families. Now, Nintendo was pushing early on about how you can share your games for 14 days digitally, things like that, which I think is great for families. Absolutely. But dude, can you think about like Christmas time? Kids are wanting this. The
you
price
get one
point,
game and that's it, like the good old days.
Dude, you're going to be at like $800 or so. Now, a lot of people pointed out that back in the day, there were games on the it was on the Nintendo 64 that hovered around the $80 mark. That was a short time. To me, I think this is going to force people to become more selective with the games that they buy because the cost of entry is much higher. I think it's gonna. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping it blows up on them. You have the diehard Nintendo fans that's gonna buy it, which is cool.
Absolutely.
I respect that, but I do think that there's a trade off to this. That I don't know, man. I think you're better off honestly just buying a Steam Deck. That's why, or one of these new ones, right?
Well, and if you can
Emulate Mario.
tell us, there is a cost to upscaling as well, right? PC game upscaling.
Oh yeah, all of that.
It was lower, I think. I'm trying to look for that.
Oh no, I got that. So if you already own the current Zelda series and you want to play it in 4K, $30.
Gotcha. Okay,
Dude, really? Sony
just to upscale it.
At least Sony with the PlayStation 4 to 5 were like, hey, if you already own Horizon Zero Dawn, we're just going to give it to you. If you already own GTA, we're going to give you the upscaled version. If you already own, they just gave it to you. Like, dude, really?
Well, and that's, and we keep going back to the main topic of please don't let that be the standard for all the others.
I know.
That's what I'm worried about.
Everything felt like a bit of a money grab. Not only do you have the price point, but here's the other thing. They have this software that they made which gives you it's like a gamified video tour of the Switch 2, meaning it's got a big version of the Switch. You can run around and jump on the buttons, and then you can walk up to a button and it tells you what the button does. It teaches you about the system.
Yeah, let me drop that in the chat here, and if you want to pull that up,
I will.
Actually am.
Did you find it?
Working on that, yeah.
So the idea behind it is that if people are not familiar with the console or video games in general, or if you're a younger kid, I think it's a great idea. And it gives you a virtual, I guess, walkthrough of the hardware on the console. And it has mini games built into it. And the mini games, got it. And the mini games look really cute. They're showing this. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. This is a really great idea. I love what they're doing here. And then they tell you they're going to charge for it.
Yeah.
Really? I thought you'd get this on launch.
Yep, sorry to interrupt you there.
No, don't. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it even says in the story of CNET that other games have done the same thing for free. So why not add this to your system for free? Because it's going to tell you exactly how to use it, just like you said. And one of the things they brought up, I watched a quick video on YouTube this morning, was Wii Sports. Whatever. We'll throw this with the game. It's free.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's like the best game they made.
It was like the most popular
when it came out.
It's what pulled people in to the Wii,
but
nursing homes.
Right there, it's hey, we're gonna add this for free. No one's really gonna play it. This is just our free game. What? No, this is one of your better games, completely.
Yeah.
So to have a tour of your Switch that's kind of really cool, has some mini games and stuff in it. To not do that for free is what I'm saying is a mistake.
It all felt so money grabby, and I get it. They're Nintendo that they can, but dude, it just felt off. And I think that's the controversy that a lot of people are feeling. Now let's take this one step further. One more controversy happened. I texted you about this. It was the pre-orders were supposed to start, I believe it was April 10th, somewhere around there. They sent an announcement out saying that Nintendo is canceling the North American pre-orders. Doug, drum roll. Why? Say it. Say the thing.
The T word. But tariffs.
Tariffs, which are a tax, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about this before. We are currently in the middle of a tariff war. We're not a political podcast. We're not going there. However, this is starting to impact the video game industry, and you're making the nerds mad. You're making the nerds mad. So the announcement being is that not only can we not pre-order right now, they just said that stores like GameStop, Best Buy, they're working closely with Nintendo. The system will still launch in June. But that means that in North America, at least, Nintendo is reassessing the tariff situation. If you don't know, you live under a rock. We have high percentages of tariffs on all countries, everywhere, across the board for all import exports. And then we're being counteracted with tariffs from those countries. That just means the price of everything in the world here in the United States is going to go up. It's just a matter of time. We've talked about this before, but now it's impacting the Nintendo. My curiosity point in all of this is if America is not able to do a pre-order, does it mean one of two things? Will they get to do a pre-order? What does that do to the supply and demand? Will other parts of the world get it first? Two, will our prices be higher? Yeah. Meaning, we know it's $500 right now. Will they tack on the tariff percentage tax, which not only, keep in mind, it won't just be our percentage, it'll be their percentage as well. So,
Well, I think they will. And if you want to open this next link I gave you,
yep.
the fine print is crazy to me. And I want to read this for you when you get that pulled up. So this is the website to U.S. and Canadian consumers. So if you look down in the fine print, invitations valid for 72 hours only for your interest in buying the Switch 2. And then it goes on to say you must have a minimum 12 months paid membership already on the Nintendo Switch Online membership and at least
Wow.
50 hours of total gameplay. So
I didn't catch that.
The way I read that, they're not going to
Scalpers.
consider you buying this until you have those things met, or at least up front.
I do. So I will say, I'll give them benefit of the doubt. I think this is their play on scalpers.
Yeah.
So that means
Which
you
is
can't.
good. I like it.
Yeah. So I think this is a good thing. So that means you are a player who has an established play history, and that you're also, they know who you are, and you're not a bot. I love this.
Yeah.
I do love this. However, you are right.
It's interesting to
yeah.
see that someone's actually doing that. I like it.
So I hope this does work. Maybe this will kind of control some of the scalping that takes place. But you and I both know they will find a way of spoofing players that have.
You know, this is only for the Nintendo store, if I'm correct, right? You go to Best Buy, you go to Walmart,
True.
Target. They're not going to check your account.
No, they can't. They don't have the hooks in to do that. So yeah,
but I just
think
thought that was
call.
really interesting.
No,
I read that. Yeah,
I like that they're doing it. This launch is going to be very interesting. I already know of so many people that are waiting though, because they're worried about the cost. They're worried about the tariffs. They don't know when they're going to get it. It will be interesting that as we head into summer, how will the Switch 2 be impacted by all of this stuff going on? It's I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. It's a rough time to launch a console. If it were me and I was Nintendo, I'd almost would have held off and been like, once I saw everything, I almost would have held off. But you also now have a whole other dynamic politically. You have a whole group of gamers, and we're talking Nintendo's different. They're not like hardcore gamer PC gamers, like, you know, the master PC race. These are families. How many kids do you think are going to want to Switch 2 for Christmas?
Well, everybody.
Well, we were talking to our friend Doug. They have some young kids. Switch is their main console. Yeah. And I asked him, you going to get a Switch 2? This is before all this news. He's, oh, yeah, we're going to get one. The boys want one. Dude, not only is it going to cost more now, getting your hands on one, it's complex. And then what's the implications of all of this for Nintendo is obviously, which we knew this was going to happen. They're hurting people to digital. What's going to happen? You and I have a RetroCon coming up in 2 weeks where everybody's buying and selling physical video games. It's a huge, hobby. We have friends, obviously, in the industry that do this, huge collectors. My brother, like, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think those prices are going to soar? Do you think they're going to become more in demand? What do you think is going to happen in that space as well? These are all the questions.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on retro gaming and stuff like that, it's already continent-based. It's in our country already, so you shouldn't have to pay a tariff at all. I think for the people that jack up the prices at the con, I think that's terrible. We've talked to your brother about his prices seem so down to earth, I guess. That's not really the right way to say it, but they're so close to what the suggested retail is.
They're more reasonable.
And then you go to other booths around, and my gosh, they want an arm and a leg for it.
Yeah.
So not to give a shout out to your brother too much, but he's doing a really good job of keeping the prices down, low, and affordable. Yeah. And I don't think tariffs should affect things that are already in our country.
They should not.
Won't be coming from other countries ever again, probably.
Yeah. Now, 2 points on that, though. One, Brian, my brother, he's mentioned that, to be fair, a lot of vendors jack up their prices because they have a brick and mortar store and they have rent.
Oh, okay.
So their margin is higher, where he can take, he's doing it on the side, right?
He's supporting himself rather than a business and employees.
Correct. He doesn't have a full. It's like if you have a company like Vintage Stock, right? I mean, they're a company, so you got that element. So we'll throw them a bone there. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to the tariff, you're right. The goods at a retro show will not go up or should not. However, people's disposable income will be less. So you may have people if people are being more picky about what they spend because, $90 games, $80 games, that's going to trickle down. That means if you're spending more for bread and eggs, that means you're going to have less disposable income at a con. So you're going to be more picky about what you're adding to your collection, that sort of thing. So I think there will be waves to all of this that will play out over the course of the future. And we don't know exactly what that's going to be. I'm hoping we're wrong. I'm hoping prices don't climb as high as they say they are. I'm hoping we are dead wrong about all of this stuff. However, the signs aren't good so far. If Nintendo, which is a company that they don't typically stop pre-orders and if they pause that for North America, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. We'll see how this impacts as they shift everybody over to digital. We'll see how this impacts the pricing in the aftermarket. Think about GameStop. They're like hanging on by a moment here, man. Like if you go into Switch 2 next, which is the next gen for them, and then what's coming behind that is going to be PlayStation and Xbox, dude. And especially there's that leak where they talked about the Steam accidentally got released on Xbox for a brief moment, and everybody's saying that, wait a minute, does Valve have a deal with Microsoft? Now, can you imagine that, dude?
Oh, that'd be big.
So, and all that's digital. So we will see how this plays out. I do think there's implications in the gaming community for collectors. I think there's implications for GameStop. I think there's implications for Nintendo trying to launch a console at a very rough time right now economically. Dude, stuff's going to get crazy. That's all I'm going to say. Let's just see how this plays out. But the Nintendo Switch 2, I will say this. I'm impressed by its hardware. I'm impressed with the ingenuity, what they're trying to do. They're awesome. They're Nintendo. They've got some great games. I feel bad for them. They're launching at a hard time right now. And I really feel bad for families that are going to struggle to afford it. Now, Nintendo doesn't notoriously lower prices either. A lot of people are spamming their forums saying, lower the price, lower the price, lower the price.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I don't see them doing it. I just don't see them doing it. I don't think this is a Sonic the Hedgehog situation where they don't like the way that something looks like the movie and people just flood them, unless you think otherwise. I don't know.
No. I don't know.
We're going to see where this goes.
Yeah.
All right, man. That
I
rounds
think
about
that's
it.
good. I want to end with something,
Please.
and hopefully not political, but my thought is going from physical media to digital media, we need some kind of legislation. This is where I work now. I hear it every day, but legislation to protect us. And I did a quick search, and California, actually, which they do a bunch of stuff, good or bad or otherwise, passed what's called and make sure I say this right, the Digital Ownership Protection Act.
Oh.
So what that says is sellers must clearly disclose whether consumers are purchasing unrestricted ownership or revocable licenses to these digital goods.
I like that.
I think if California started the trend, that needs to go nationwide, because you have talked specifically about, do you buy a game and do you own it forever?
Yeah.
Or do you buy a game and they can pull the license at any time? So I did a quick search. That's my rant. We need to do this across the country. If I buy a $80 digital Switch game, I don't want Nintendo to take it back.
I think it should go one step further. So first of all, great rant. I didn't know that about California. I think it should go a step further, and not only should they guarantee that if you get the rights with a digital game, in the event of closure or filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, or they get bought by a big entity like Microsoft, let's say like your Blizzard, and you get bought, in the event of any copyright, hand changes, anything, then they owe you a check. They owe you the reimbursed cost of the game of its original MSRP. That's what I think.
I agree.
And then for mergers and acquisitions, what that means is this. If I'm Microsoft and I buy Blizzard, and let's say I decide, you know what? I own Diablo now. I don't really like it. I'm basically gonna sell off the rights, and then somebody buys it, and then they just sit on it, and they basically squash it. And you can't find Diablo anywhere anymore. But you bought it digitally. Then I think somewhere along the line with mergers and acquisitions, there should be a trailing cost penalty fee to reimburse people. Now, that's hard to do, tracking people and all that. But I think it should be a class action thing to where that they are incentivized to make sure you own that game digitally, or to allow you to download it in a way that you can back it up yourself on your own hard drives.
Nope, I agree completely. We're spending tons and tons of money on this stuff. And really, I don't know if this argument is valid or not. You tell me. But I buy a game on Xbox, and then they promise upscaling on the Series X, but then they change your mind. Have I lost out on money? I mean, I don't know if that's the same argument or not.
I don't know. What do they owe you? I think there does need to be clarity. I'll say doing this for a very long time, I have had, as you, I've had a very good experience with Steam. Meaning,
Very good. Yeah.
pretty much everything I've bought all the way back to the early 2000s, if it's digital, it's in my library. They've not taken it away. The only weird thing they've done is some really old games. They flip them and they call them prototypes or tests or whatever. And I can still play them and download them, but they did something weird with the version. But I've had a good experience with Steam. I've not had that great of an experience, but it's a different service, to be fair, when it comes to digital on the consoles, on PlayStation and on Xbox, where I will say, I'll give Xbox credit. The digital games I bought on 360, when I log in with my Microsoft account, I still see my 360 games.
Oh.
But I've had weird issues where I try to launch some of my 360 games, and sometimes it gives me an error, and I'm like, "You're digital. You know what I mean?" Like, I've had weird.
That makes me wonder. Not to interrupt you there,
No,
but
please.
do they say, "Oh, sorry, that's an old source code," or I'm trying to use the lingo of that world.
Yeah.
But
what's their responsibility to ensure that it's functional for you?
Well, you see some of these games like Battlefield. I try to go back and play some of the old ones, Battlefield 3, 4, Call of Duty. Eventually, they stop the servers. They stop the online play. So then you're just stuck with the single player mode.
Exactly. So I don't know. I've had that. I know with the streamings for Game Pass and even for the PlayStation, there'll be a game on there in the library. Now, keep in mind, I'm more playing to have access to the library. I'm not buying the game digitally, but they willy-nilly will just take them off. Like they'll say this game is leaving Game Pass soon, or this game is leaving the PlayStation Network soon, and they'll take them away. So you better play them if you're interested in that moment. Now that's different. That's not me owning the digital subscription. I didn't pay $50. So I kind of can give them a pass on that. I've had pretty good luck with Sony on, I do buy digital games. I switched to digital on Sony before I did anything. And when I say switch to digital, I mean buying digital games like I do on Steam. And I've had pretty good luck with Sony so far too. They've never taken anything away from me. I bought Red Dead Redemption 2 for my PlayStation.
Oh, great game.
When I got the PlayStation 5, because I wanted to play on the Portal. I didn't want the disc, that kind of whole thing. So to me, I think the next one, I'm ready, but I'm a PC gamer, so I'm very comfortable because of Steam with digital games. So the next gen console, I probably won't get a disc. I'll probably just, and then as long as they let me upgrade the hard drive to put a 4 terabyte in it, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I just bought this PC and we talked about it a couple episodes ago, but I don't even see an option. I see room to put in a CD drive, but it's not an option anymore, like a mainline option. So they've gotten rid of physical media.
You mean when you went to go buy it, they didn't have the option?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I looked. Do I ever need a CD drive or a DVD drive? But they don't even offer it as an option. Yeah,
they don't. But you can buy them aftermarket, and then you have a butt ton of ports on that. I think they're your SATA ports that are right below your slots there.
I've got a ton of those down
dude. And SATA ports are good for, you want a Blu-ray player, you want a DVD, you want a Blu-ray burner if you wanted to burn Blu-rays. It's kind of interesting, right? So this also ushers in the question though about emulation. I think emulation is important for preservation. That's another aspect to this. And you said it yourself, when these games start to hit a life where their online servers are not up, they may behave because the hardware advances. Emulation is great because emulation can fake relatively well the OG hardware within a window on a newer system. So I think it's great for game preservation. All I know is times they are a-changing. We're going to be here to report the news on what you're seeing, break it down for you. What does it mean to you? Give you our take of what we're seeing, what our friends are seeing within the community. Because Doug and I are plugged into all these people that are collecting, and we will keep everybody in the loop. It's what we try to do because, well, we're a community. And yeah, man, I think that's it for today. I'm going to let you wrap us up. What am I missing?
No, I think we're good. Sorry, not sorry. We get a little passionate. These are the things we care about. This is the money coming out of our pocket. So we're definitely going to try to report that to you and tell you our feel. Sometimes we get a little too emotional, but that's okay.
It's our hobby.
It's our hobby. Yeah. Scooting away from that, we have some really good stuff coming down the way. I'm going to give a little teaser. I haven't secured it yet. I may have a really, really good interview for the summer. It's going to take me a little while, but I discovered something. Shout out to my boy, Trevor. I'm giving you credit right now, but we're going to work on something for the summer. That's all I'm saying about that.
It's a big fish.
Back to we've got the Comic-Con coming up in 2 weeks. We've got some good
RetroCon.
hopefully interviews. We're on a panel. I'm rambling today. I have too much coffee, and I'll let you close us out.
That's right. We have the RetroCon, not the Comic-Con. We did that a few episodes back. Yeah. He's excited. Don't worry. But even with the RetroCon, not only are we working the booth, we're going to do coverage on that. We're also hosting a panel at the Como RetroCon. And our special guest, at least what's guaranteed right now, is Neo Ness and Mr. Rightway. And so we'll be interviewing them, and we're going to package that whole together. We're going to record it. We'll have a special episode for it. You can hear our conversations with them. It's going to be great to get together, and it's going to be new for you and I. We've not done a physical podcast in person. That's new for Doug and I.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. So it'll be fun, like great people. So we're super excited about it. And so we're going to wrap all that up in some really great content for everybody. But we want to thank everyone. Don't forget, we have the Wired Nerdy store if you want to get yourself some awesome merch. And we're working on some really cool episodes coming down the way, in addition to our events like the RetroCon, some great interviews, and some really cool topics that we're banking on. So we hope everyone have an awesome week this week, and just stay nerdy. See ya.